Hello and welcome to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I am your host, Chance Pitts, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into this episode. Guys and gals, welcome into another episode of the Next in Line podcast. I'm very excited to have y'all here with us today as we dive into another topic in personal development. But guys, before we get too far in, let's go ahead and take care of the housekeeping and announcements. If you receive value from this episode or any other episode of the Next in Line podcast, I would ask that you share the show with like-minded individuals who could receive that same kind of value. That's the number one way for us to continue to grow this movement and to push this thing out in a positive direction, to be able to help more people just like you every single day reach their full potential. What that looks like, guys, is take a screenshot, post it on your social media, interact with us on whatever platform you find yourself listening on. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or any other awesome podcast platform out there. You can like, subscribe, comment, and those interactions will help push us up in the search bar as people look for personal development type podcasts. Now, along with that, guys, you can keep up with all the daily stuff that we've got going on and all the interesting events that we're taking on, just from training to the actual big events that we're going to be racing in and getting involved in with some of these great people in the Next in Line community. That's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, where you can find us out there. You can also contact us best on that platform as well, any of those three. Shoot us a DM, let us know how we're doing. Give us any questions, comments, concerns that you might have over what we're doing here, guys. We'd be happy to hear from you. Now, along with that, guys, we have a couple of races that we still have in line for this year. On October 23rd, we'll be over in Clinton, Missouri, starting the Katy Trail 225. That is a 225-mile ultramarathon that runs across the state of Missouri. It is going to be the longest race to date and the most challenging event that I have taken on personally. We'll be out there with a couple of great individuals sharing the trail, racing with Dan and Todd and a few other people that we've met along the way. Happy to share the trail with them once again. And then along with that, guys, we'll have a great crew and pacer group out there with us of awesome people who have volunteered to come out and help us run this race and get this thing done. Now, while we're on that topic, guys, be looking for a message or reach out and shoot me a message if we haven't talked about it yet and you want to get involved in the Katy Trail 225. We'll be hosting a runners pre-race meeting kind of thing here probably in about a week, just to get everybody on the same page and let everybody know what the plan is as we get ready to go out to Missouri for that race. So be looking for that. If you want to get involved and haven't been involved up to this point, make sure you shoot us a DM on that platform. That's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Now, along with that, guys, we've also got the Brazos Bend 100 on December 2nd out in Needville, Texas. I myself will likely not be running in a race out there, but we've got several individuals who are very interested in doing so. One of which is Michael Ruiz, who will be taking on his first 100-mile ultramarathon. We're very stoked to be out there pacing and crewing for him and helping support him as he dives into this new goal and this really awesome goal that he set for himself this winter. So super stoked about that. We'll have a great team out there. If you're considering running Brazos Bend out there and you need a support group, maybe some pacers, reach out. We'll have a ton of people out there, and we'd love to help you do so. Also, if you're one of those in the group considering diving into that, guys, I highly encourage you to sign up. Those spots are filling up fast if they already haven't, and it would be great to have more people out there and just be able to support a great group of athletes out there at that race. Now, guys, as we get further into this thing, I'm trying to put more time and energy into our podcast setup. If you've been watching on YouTube and keeping up with us, you'll notice some changes here. You'll notice I have the Tara's Workbench sign right behind me here, posted up on the wall here as our new backdrop. Super excited about that. Super excited to be able to display that and show it off. Just an awesome piece of art that was a great gift from Mr. Chris Barnes, done by his sister Tara. And then also I've got the Feel Good Fabrication metal hanger over my left shoulder here as well. So super excited about that as well, and able to display those and display some of the accomplishments we have because of some of the great people out there in our community. So guys, if y'all need anything like that sign-wise, Tara's Workbench on Instagram right here. You can check them out from some of the posts that I've tagged her in, and also Josiah putting together the medal hanger over here over my left shoulder to display some of those awesome medals out there. Now, I apologize for the brief pauses here and there that might be coming up. We got a little bit of a technical difficulty on the camera side over here, so just bear with me if you're on YouTube and I'm having some cuts in and out on this deal. But let's go ahead and dive into the topic for today, guys, which is pulling back the curtain on personal development. So what do I even mean by pulling back the curtain? You see, for a very long time, I lived life kind of blinded. I didn't really have a sense of direction, didn't have a sense of purpose, and I didn't understand how to grab a hold of one, how to get to that point where I was headed in the right direction on where I wanted to go. I didn't understand how to make life what I wanted it to be. I didn't even think it was possible at many times. You see, in almost every other aspect besides my career, I felt completely and utterly out of control. And because of that, I buried myself in all kinds of different indulgences that did not serve me well, most of which were food and alcohol and just honestly not being a very good person, because those different indulgences allowed me to distract myself from the fact that I didn't really know where I was going, what I was doing, or what I was really hoping to accomplish in this world. And you see, because of that, it felt like there was this large, big curtain that stood in between me and the understanding of who I could truly be in this world. And the great thing is about that is that each and every one of us have that point in our lives. We have that curtain. We have that lack of understanding of what we are truly capable of. Some of us are very lucky, and from an early age, we realize that everything in this world is tangible. Everything in this world is able to be grabbed hold of and taken and just run off with and created and turned into what we want it to be, right? But the matter of fact is more often than not, I should say, we end up in a spot that we don't see the curtain being present, and we don't see the lack of control that we have in life until it's too late. And I say too late very loosely, guys, because the younger you realize this, the sooner you realize this, the more opportunity you have. But the great thing is it's never too late to be in that spot, to peel this curtain back and to see all of the things that you're potentially missing out in life by not seeing the truth. That curtain moment came for me on the tail end of a really, really bad night of drinking, whenever I looked in the mirror and realized how terrible I was treating myself, how none of the goals that I had in life really were aligned with what I was truly out there doing. And it was honestly a pretty pathetic image that was looking back at me in the mirror whenever I was trying to gather myself up to drag myself out of bed after that really, really thick night of drinking and the corresponding hangover that came along with it, and just feeling absolutely atrocious. You know, it was a tough spot, but it was kind of the last straw for me in this regard. So whenever I was finally able to realize that curtain needed to be pulled back, it didn't happen just overnight. You see, I started making little changes here and there. I started deciding that I was going to reel in my drinking just a little bit. I started deciding that I was going to reel in my diet just a tick. I was going to start being a little bit more physically active. I was going to put my career maybe on the back burner just a little bit more, rather than being the thing that drove the bus for me every single day, being the thing that drug me out of bed every single day. And because I decided to do that, and because I was able to do that, the little changes started to add up, until one day there was a moment where I decided to take on a program called 75 Hard, and it really illuminated the fact that I had way more control over my day-to-day life than I could have. Now, 75 Hard is a great program, but it's not really what's important. The important part is the fact that I chose to engage in something that was a catalyst in me understanding that I had more control over my day-to-day life. What it forced me to do is get on a schedule and to take on tasks that were non-negotiables, to completely engage in all of the things that I needed to engage in and to work on a daily basis so that I could have the life that I wanted to have. And very quickly from that, guys, I started to see the pounds tick away. I started to see the healthier decisions affect people. I started to see individuals' true colors that came out based on what they thought I was trying to do and the distance I was putting between myself and the bad decisions that they seem to make on a daily basis. You see, whenever you start to challenge yourself around people that aren't ready to have that conversation, they tend to get extremely uncomfortable, and they do so very quickly. And because of that, they start to lash out. They start to have a little bit of discomfort with you on a daily basis, and it starts to drive a wedge between you and some of the relationships that you thought were maybe once strong. And because of that, guys, that's just another aspect of that curtain being pulled back a little bit further, because you realize the truth about what's going on in the world. You realize how many people are drinking and eating themselves to death. You realize how many people are making terrible decisions on a daily basis that puts them further and further away from their goals. They have self-sabotage episodes that seem to be an excuse and seem to be an opportunity for them to lead their lives in a direction they don't want to go because they're scared of taking on the challenge that is pulling back the curtain and getting control of your own situation. And just understanding as part of that, just understanding that you can do so. So, like I said, a lot of these little factors started to lead to pulling that curtain back very, very slowly. And upon the completion of 75 Hard, and somewhere in the lines of getting up and working out at 2 in the morning, staying disciplined whenever all my friends were out partying and drinking, keeping to a diet as everyone around me, including my coworkers, indulged in the donuts, the kolaches, the unhealthy lunches that got brought back. Somewhere in the mix of all of those things, it clicked. The curtain came back all the way, and I found myself staring at this vast and somewhat empty void of life that I had created for myself. I discovered that all of the things that I wanted or thought I had wanted at the time had really left me hollow. All of these earthly indulgences, the drinking, the eating, the stupid decisions, all of these career-oriented things that I thought would fulfill me, they were all this very, very hollow thing. There really wasn't an achievement for me to be proud of besides the fact that, I'd climbed a corporate ladder at a company. I'd gained some great experience. I was a hardworking individual that they could count on every single time they needed to. But at the end of the day, it wasn't serving me. It wasn't creating a means to an end for me for the things that I wanted in this life. So understanding that and being able to pull that back was extremely, extremely important to me and important in my process, because the realization was, Chance, there's so much more out there. You have a body that's capable of amazing physical feats. You have a mind that is capable of understanding how to help people on an emotional level, and you can translate that into a physical place and a mental and emotional and spiritual place as well. And it made me realize and understand how far off the mark that I'd been. And because of that, guys, I wanted to run through a few different things that happened to me and to prepare y'all for what it's going to be like whenever you decide to pull back that curtain. Now, the truth of the matter is, I can't sit here and tell you how to get the curtain pulled back. I can't sit here and tell you how you're going to be able to realize and get to the point of life where you understand that you need to make a change. That's honestly all in your wheelhouse. It might seem a little bit kind of brash, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I mean that in the most positive regard. Nobody can want this for you. Nobody can want you to be a better version of yourself more than you want to, because that's just not how this works, guys. You won't ever make the realization, you won't ever make the changes if you're not forced to go to that place inside of yourself that requires you to think on a deeper and more engaged level. But once you do, guys, once you decide to make that change, once you feel that it is time and you're able to pull that curtain back little by little and get to the point of just throwing it open and viewing what's in front of you, there's going to be some factors that come into play. There's going to be some things that nobody told you. And there's going to be a lot of good things. But there's also going to be things that make you stop and question and make you kind of wonder if you're on the right path, if you will. But that's kind of what I want to sit here and discuss with y'all today, guys. So, number one on this list, just looking out, blatantly honest, on the day-to-day, you will be happier. You'll be happier with the decisions you'll make. You'll be happier with the person that you are. If it's weight that's holding you back, you'll be much happier with the more healthy version, more capable version of who you are. If it's mental health keeping you back, you'll be happier with a less anxious, less stressed version that you bring to the table every single day, with a more positive attitude and a more positive general approach to life. If it's your drinking and things that you struggle with in that regard, you'll be happier with the more sober version of yourself that doesn't have to distract yourself from all of the things in life by engaging in that drinking and diving into that social aspect that comes along with that drinking as well. On the flip side of that, though, guys, if you're happier on the day-to-day life, one thing that'll come along and probably surprise you is that being happy and being satisfied are two very different things. You see, if you're happier in life on a day-to-day basis, one thing I've realized with this process is that you will be less satisfied. And I don't mean that in a fully negative thing, guys, but this could have a very negative loom over you every once in a while in life. This could create a cloud and it could create its own stressors in its own way. And what I mean by that, guys, is you'll start to see that everything truly is tangible. You'll start to understand that you can make the changes in life. And because of that, you'll start to really evaluate and dive into every aspect of your life. You'll start to explore what it means to truly be happy, what it means to truly be successful in all of these different regards, whether it's finances, whether it's your career, whether it's with your friends, family, the organizations you're a part of, your physical health, your diet, whatever it might be. You'll start to evaluate it to a point of understanding that improvement is necessary and available in every single regard. So you will be in a constant pursuit of being a better person every single day whenever that time comes along. Now, along with that, guys, I talked about the tangibility just a little bit, but you'll understand on a whole different level that this life is exactly what you want it to be. And it can be exactly what you want it to be every single day. You'll understand that changes in life are no easier. They're no less challenging. Say you're switching jobs, moving across the state, trying to lose all the weight that you need to lose or want to lose. Whatever it is, the changes don't get easier. But you understand and have a grasp that you are capable. The realization that you can actually do these things becomes somewhat easier to obtain and grab hold of, if you will. It doesn't make the process any easier by any means, but it lets you understand that you actually possess the discipline that is required to dive into some of these things. Now, along with that, guys, I mentioned it early on in this episode, but this process, pulling back the curtain, seeing what really needs to be done, is going to cost you some friends. You see, one of the major changes I didn't expect is that a lot of the people I used to hang out with, a lot of the individuals I used to call some of my best friends and my dearest friends, they were in a season of my life where I was indulging and taking on certain aspects that we all saw value in. It was the drinking, it was the partying, it was the overeating, it was a lot of somewhat positive things. It was a coping mechanism to survive in the area of my life that I had put myself in. It was, we work hard all day long, all week long. We run ourselves in the dirt. We deserve this little aspect of being able to escape, to being able to distract ourselves with these different indulgences in life. And to be, that's something we have to do to be the person that we have to be Monday through Friday. And I'm thankful for those people in that time of my life. They helped me survive a lot. They helped me get through a lot of different things. They helped me keep my mental health preserved somewhat. But the thing was, you go into a survival mode. You go into a just live where you're at, get through the process, cope how you can. It's not a progressive thing. It's not a positive motion. There's no forward motion in you trying to just survive or cope or put those coping mechanisms into place like all the unhealthy things we've been talking about. And because of that, guys, though those individuals have a season in your life, whenever you decide to move away from that, whenever you decide to get out of that day-to-day coping and that craziness of the schedule that you've put yourself into, and you move to a different place where progress is king, you'll have to leave those individuals behind. Because unless they're ready to grow, and remember we talked about at the beginning, you can't want something more than other people want it. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Unless they want to come along with you and they're ready to do so, which I've had a few friends that have, luckily enough, you're not going to be able to continue to reach your full potential, to become the best version of yourself by still being around those people. And that's a hard one, guys. That's one that probably keeps more people from making the changes they need to make than any other aspect. The social pressure and the peer pressure to stay who you are because it's important to other people. But the truth of the matter is, guys, we're talking about personal development. We're talking about a factor where to become the best version of you, to engage in being the best version of yourself every single day, there's a certain aspect of selfishness. There's a certain aspect of doing it for yourself that you're going to have to understand and you're going to have to really, really dive into. Next, guys, if you're choosing to engage in what we're choosing to engage in, if you're choosing to pull back that curtain, if you're choosing to become the best version of yourself, to start dedicating time, energy, money, and whatever other investments you have into being the best version of yourself, it's going to require more of you than you've ever given before. Take away all the friends, take away all the motivation, take away all the David Goggins books and videos of him screaming at you, telling you to get out of bed. Take away all the Andy Frisella podcasts telling you how to do everything in this world business-wise. Whenever you get into the rut, whenever you're diving into this process and trying to become the best version of yourself, know that all of those things will fade out. None of those factors will be relevant the entire time. And when the rubber meets the road, guys, and when things are super challenging, whenever you're trying to beg yourself to have the energy and the motivation to get out of bed early to hit the workouts, or to stay away from the donuts that are calling your name in the break room at work as you're trying to change your diet and you're starving because, your caloric intake is lower than what you're burning, so your body thinks you're dying and thinks that you're trying to starve it to death, which somewhat you are. You'll realize in those moments when things are extremely tough and it seems like no one has your back that this is going to require more of you than you've ever given to yourself, than you've ever given to a job, than you've ever given to anyone else. It's going to require you to truly bet the farm on you. It's going to require you to establish discipline, to come up with your rituals, your habits, so that you can complete the things that you need to complete, so that you can achieve whatever it is you have lined out for yourself. It's going to be little daily disciplines. It's going to be laying out your clothes early so you can go to the gym. It's going to be cleaning out the fridge of all the crap so that you don't take anything bad with you to work or snack on anything bad at the house. It's going to require you to be an agent of change for yourself and to really invest and dive in on a deeper level than you ever have before. And on the backside of that, guys, the last point of this is that if you pull back the curtain, if you decide to make those changes, if you decide to engage on a level higher than you've ever engaged on anything else before to become the individual that you want to become, you're not going to be the same person at the end of this. You're going to be unrecognizable. And whenever you make those changes, guys, whenever you're changing who you are, the little details and the little experiences and the little factors that you put into play every single day are going to be the clay that molds the person that you are trying to become. You're going to chip away the old person that you were every single day, and you're going to build back somebody who is dedicated to the habits that you are putting into play. So with that being said, guys, understand that all of these points really come back into play with that. Understand that the people you're around are going to be a reflection of what you're molding. Understand that the habits and the little things you let yourself do. You let yourself get away with a cheat meal every once in a while. You let yourself get away with going a couple of weeks without working out, but it's okay because you're still happy with the way you look. It's still better than who you were. All of those things, those little ingredients that you pour into yourself and allow yourself to add in as you rebuild yourself, are going to be permanent habits that you form now and forever. You're going to either be the person that comes along and has a good enough mentality, like this is good enough. I've been healthy 3/4 of the time. I make the right decision 3/4 of the time. I do everything I'm supposed to most of the time. If you're building those habits from the beginning of your development process, know that it's harder to maintain. It's harder to continue to be disciplined every single day. Now, I'm not going to be an advocate for being perfect. I'm not going to tell you that this is easy enough to the point of you will never slip up again, whether it's meals, whether it's stupid decisions in your life, whether it's alcohol, whether it's going out with friends whenever you shouldn't, or doing something completely off the wall. No, those things happen, guys. It's human nature. You're going to make mistakes. Some of the best advice people get in this process for physical training and diets is there's like a 90-10 rule. 90% of the time you do what you're supposed to the T perfectly, and 10% of the time you're lenient with yourself. There's also 80-20 rules, and people scale that back on various accounts because they understand human nature. But the truth of the matter is, guys, every ingredient that you pour into the change that you're going to be, the new person that you're trying to become, those are going to be lasting factors. So make sure all of the things you do on a daily basis, you're okay with over the next course of however many years you're on this earth. Because whatever you do now, whatever you pour into yourself, whatever you rebuild yourself with, guys, that's going to be a positive thing or a negative thing going on. You know, whenever you go in and you understand that there's some issues with your house, maybe there's a wall that you're wanting to change out and you're wanting to open up your living room just a little bit. There's an opportunity to put in a main beam as you take out that wall over the top so that you can reinforce your wall, so that you can make sure that you have the proper stability and that you're not changing or negatively impacting the stability of the overall structure. If you put in that main beam and you take the time to do so, and you take the time to learn the skill, or maybe even hire somebody to come in and assist you with putting that in, it's a very positive change. You end up with the outcome you want, and you end up with a permanent outcome that's going to be able to open up that house. It's going to allow you to have more room for visiting. It's going to give you the layout that you've always wanted and the opportunity that you've always wanted to have the house that you really, really want. Whereas if you take that wall out and you put nothing back in its place, for a very short period of time, you'll probably be just fine. you'll probably get exactly what you want. You'll have all the room, all the ability to have the gatherings you've always wanted, and it'll be an easier time. It'll be cheaper too, because you didn't come back in with the right materials and you didn't come back in with extra labor to make it what it needs to be. But when it comes down to it, guys, and you're a few months down the line or a couple of years down the line and things start to fall in on you and collapse, understand that that's because you didn't go back with the full engagement, the full commitment, and the appropriate approach to that solution. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Just make sure you're putting into this what you want to get out. It is a very, very true value exchange, and you are going to be able to withdraw the deposits that you put in on a daily basis back whenever you were creating the new version of yourself. So guys, that's really all I have for you today. Let's go out and pull that curtain back. Let's start to understand what it is that we want to change. And don't be upset if it doesn't happen overnight. Know that this is a process. That's why we call this thing a process. Over and over, your development cycle, your development process. It's going to be something that takes time, investment, and energy. If you have any questions, if you have any issues, you can reach out to us. We've got a great people and a wide network of individuals that can help you achieve the things that you're wanting to achieve. I'd be happy to connect you with some of those individuals. I'd be happy to help you if I can. If there's anything I can ever do, shoot us a DM on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. That's at Next in Line Development on all three of those platforms. And guys, I'm very, very thankful that each and every one of y'all keeps coming back on a weekly basis to learn more and more about this personal development cycle. I'm excited to get some more changes made on this podcast. I'm excited to get some progress made on the front of the technical side, and also with some of the interviews and the guests that we hope to have on here soon. Now, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to get involved in any of the events that we have, or if you just want to share what your thoughts are on these episodes that we put out, don't hesitate to reach out to me, guys. I'm an open book. I love hearing from y'all, and this has really been an awesome experience. I hope y'all got some value out of today's episode, guys. Go out, achieve your goals, strive to be better every single day, and always be prepared for whatever is next in line.